Hi there, my name's Sarah and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in the UK. Thank you for joining me. Today's Top Tips Tuesday, we're going to be discussing about the paper cutter. Now, this isn't new now, but it is new to us, reasonably new to us. It only came out maybe over a year ago. We used to have one before. It was more expensive and there were a few issues with it. And I have to say this is a much improved version. It really is, and it's cheaper. It's only £23, I believe. I should have checked that, but I'm pretty sure it's £23. So it's very good value for money. Yeah, there was always a little bit of issue with the blades before, but they've improved them no end, and they last so much longer. They really are good. So to start off with, alright, I'm going to start right here. This is slightly different from before. There's a locking system, but well, before we had a slidey button, but now it kind of just self locks. So don't go lifting it up here from here because it's kind of locked. So I would always just lift it from the top, it doesn't take much. Just unclip it, and that's basically how you unlock it and knock it again, so it doesn't all flap about really. So that's what that's for. You've got a nice place at the top here that you can obviously hang it off a nail, screw, whatever you want to do in your craft room. So that's very, very handy. Right, what's the next thing? As you can, I don't know if you can see on mine. So this is the cutter. Sorry, this is the cutting blade, and this is the scoring blade. I'm not sure if you can see because of the sun. So I've put an S on there for score, and in a permanent pen I've put a C for cutter, just so you don't get them muddled up. And I'm not sure I can show you the blade. No, I'll show you a blade in a minute to show you how well the size of it is it's much bigger than before. This is obviously your cutting guide, and now the great thing is this is in imperial measurements, the inches down here, but they've now released one in metric, which I must admit I haven't ordered yet, but I must order that, and it's only £3.75, and the item number is 154980. So yeah, I must put that on my order list because I much prefer to work in metric. As you can see, it does need a bit of a clean actually. A few little glue marks on it. With the brilliant thing about this is it's perfectly wipeable. But yeah, at the top you can see we've got centimetres, and then obviously millimetres, and then you've got your inches. Oh, and before I say anything else, mine's obviously hasn't got the cover on. When you first get yours, it will have a film over it. You probably won't be able to tell that there's a film over it, but eventually it will start to bubble the more it gets worn. It's entirely up to you whether you keep it on. I prefer to remove it, so just find a little corner and grab it from the corner and just peel it all off. Yeah, probably from one of the corners it'll be easy. You'll be able to see it anyway eventually. So yeah, that's all your measurements. Obviously this comes out and then it gives you a much wider field. It goes right up to 17 inches, just over, which is way bigger than you need for our 12 by 12 papers anyway. So also, excellent thing, which our other one didn't have, is you put a 12 by 12 sheet in, and if you butt it right up to this cutting arm when it's in place and cut, it will give you exactly a 6-inch strip like that. So if we go in again, butt it straight up and go back up, you've got perfect 6 by 6 inch squares. So that's really handy to know that's exactly 6 inches up to that line. And what else did I want to say? Just bear with me because I don't want to forget anything, because there's so much. Examples at DSP. Yes, that's what I want to say. With your blade, so you get even wear of the blade. I will actually just show you one of the blades. This is how they come in a multi-pack. If you want, you will need some spare blades. Get a pack of 4, and they are £11.25. And the item code for that is 152391. So I would thoroughly recommend having some of them in stock, because although the blades now will last a lot longer than they did before, they will need, depending on how much you use it obviously, they will eventually need replacing. So I don't know if you can see that, maybe on the little bit of yellow you can see the blade is, I don't know if you know what the size was before, but it's a lot smaller. But yeah, that's quite a nice size blade, Yeah, use it up and down, and then you'll get even coverage. And obviously be very careful, it's very, very sharp. And to change the blade can be a little bit tricky, I have to be honest, but it's not too bad. Just here, and again I'll put a bit of yellow underneath. There's a little, I'm not sure you can see, just here there's a little bit of cutout on the cutting guide, but that's kind of where you want to come and change it. So you bring it to there, and I either use just something sharp, or usually my ruler works quite well. I lift my ruler up just to prise it up, or you can just kind of open this plastic, just spread that apart a little bit. So there's various methods of getting it off. So it's not something you're going to be wanting to do a lot. No. So just obviously you've got to be careful that you don't cut your finger as well on that blade. So just take a little bit of time. And it's going to be difficult for me now on camera. I normally struggle this much. It's because it locks down. There we go. So that's how you get the blade out, and that actually hasn't worn out yet, but I am going to change it, because what I will do when you get a blade, we do glitter paper, or it's called glimmer paper, and I have to be honest, that can dull your blades. So if you've got a blade that's maybe getting to the end of its use, or you've got one that has started to make paper a little bit fluffy, take it out, change it, write on it either glimmer or something so you know what it is, and you can use that to cut your glimmer card, and it will cut it fine, but it won't ruin your other blade. So it's best to keep a separate blade for our glimmer. Just a handy tip there. And as you can see on this one, I don't know if you can see, there should be an arrow. Oh, maybe there's not on there. There's an arrow telling you which way to put it, the blade. And so it's pointing that way. So I'm here. So back in slot, and just push it in. It goes in a lot easier than it comes out, that's for sure. And that's in now, and that can ride up and down. It's just like that. And I think, oh no, we'll just yeah, another important little tip: make sure we've got a groove down here, and paper will tend, when you'll get little bits of fluff, and it's just good idea to keep it nice and clean. So just get a brush, any type of paintbrush, any brush you've got, and you can just brush the pieces out and keep that little track nice and clean. An alternative method is you could get a pokey tool, something sharp, put a little bit of a wet wipe or kitchen towel on the end, and just very carefully just run that down the groove. Whatever you find works for you, really, but it's just nice, it's just a good idea to keep the track nice and clean. It helps for cleaner, better cuts. And last but not least, let's just do some cardstock. Now, not only can you cut one card A4 sheet, you can get away with cutting two, at least two. You could probably try three, but I think two is enough. So I'll line two up, and we'll just, the same with coloured cardstock. You could try it with two. I think two is probably enough. And so come down like that. I'll leave it down there like that. And then we'll just go back up to, just to get the even. And you can see we've got nice clean cuts, no fluffy edges. Sometimes you get a little bit of a burr on cardstock, and that's perfectly normal. What I do is I either get my fingernail and I just run it down something like that, or sometimes if you get a scorer, which I haven't bought, but you can just rub it with it, and that just flattens it, no problem. And you can't see that now at all. Can't see that whatsoever. So yeah, it's lovely. Oh, and I'll just demonstrate the scorer. The scoring tool, which doesn't need replacing, it's just like a little metal ball, really. we'll just go anyway. Just measure up to, oh, that's popped out. So back down the groove, that's it. Just up and down. You need it once or twice. It doesn't look thick, it's not a thick line, but it certainly has embossed it. So the bump always goes inward sides, so fold it that way and just burnish it. And that's it. And I think that's all I need to tell you really. So yeah, marvellously piece of kit. Sorry, excuse me. And I couldn't be without it. I love it, and I love the fact that you can cut and score at the same time. That saves you a lot of time actually. Yeah, so yeah, very pleased with it since they've updated it, I must say, and so the blades are very, very good. So I hope those little tips helped, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.